Good evening. Welcome to Talk Man Podcast, last one of 2024. This year has absolutely flew by, hasn't it? So, let's get straight into it. Me, Steve Jackson, I'm your host for the evening. Notice I've cut May out. Has been done. Got Mr. John Donovan with me, as usual. Evening, John Don.
Evening. Are you okay?
I'm good. How are you?
Yep, absolutely fine, thanks.
He's not just fine, he's absolutely fine.
Absolutely fine.
And we've also got a friend of the show, hasn't been on for a while, so we thought, get him on one last time for 2024. Yusuf's with us this evening. Evening, Yusuf.
Good evening, how's it going?
Really good, how are you?
Yeah, very well, thank you for asking.
Good. No, good. I'm good. Thank you very much for popping on. I'll have a chat with you about, I suppose, 2024, how Borough's progressed through the year and stuff, and where you think we'll be in 2025. I know John Don's put a question out, so he'll be popping that question and saying what other people have said as well. We'll talk about Burnley. Tight game last night, really tough, fine margins. Was one of them, but a point gained. Obviously, it's 2 points lost. Let us know. And then we'll talk about the New Year schedule. We've got a trip to Hull and we've got Cardiff at home. On paper, two very winnable games. So before we get stuck into this, are we both all right?
Yeah, very well.
Excellent, yeah. Recovered from the Christmas period, yeah. I'll sort it out.
Good. I'm glad you say it like that, John, because that's something Borough haven't, because we've all of a sudden started popping up with a fair few injuries. I know we were going to mention it, I suppose, after the game, because Carrick did, but we'll mention it before. Obviously, the team came out last night. A couple of changes. The big one was obviously the keeper, looking like Solbrin's out for a minimum of 3 months. How big a blow is that for the Borough?
Well, it's massive, isn't it? Because to be brutally honest, Tom Glover was our third choice keeper. And now we've got injuries to Solbrin and Senny Dieng with a hip problem that who knows how long it'll take until he's back in first team action. So we've got Glover as our current first choice, and then Jamie Jones as his backup. Should anything happen to either of them, then I don't know. Will we ask on Johnny Howson to put the gloves on? He seems to cover everywhere else, but I don't know. But it's not a good situation to be going into a sort of a crucial part of the season. I wish we didn't have those injuries to the keepers.
No, it's not ideal at all. Obviously, we see about Dieng having a muscle injury. Take that issue well. Yusuf, what have you made of Solbrin's introduction to the first team? Obviously, I saw you at Oxford. You were quite impressed with him there. He's come back in after Dieng's stint against Burnley and Leeds, both away from home beginning of the month. But he's come back in and he hasn't exactly shied away from putting himself about. He's been quite impressive for me. What do you think?
Yeah, he's made some very important saves, I think, at key stages of games. If you look at the goals that we conceded when he was in the goal, you can't say too many he was at fault at. Maybe one or two he could have maybe have done a bit better, but they weren't like glaring mistakes, such as what some of the previous goalkeepers have done. And I just thought he was getting more confident and better. And he just got an injury at the worst possible time for him, because I think he was establishing himself as arguably our number one. It was sort of like, because it was his position to lose, I think. And then he just went and got that injury, which is really, really unfortunate.
Yeah, it really was, because it was quite a freak one as well. It wasn't too obvious for, especially where we were in the North Stand. We were like, well, it looks like he's dislocated shoulder simply because of the way he was holding his arm, but it didn't look obvious how he'd done it. But yeah, it's really unfortunate. It's give Tom Glover his chance to go back in the net last night. A lot of obviously split feelings about him. We'll talk about his performance if we go through. But apart from that, John, were you quite happy with the team that came out last night? It pretty much looks like it's the best of what we've got. Obviously, Vandenberg suspended, so George Edmondson came back in. It's pretty much what I expected from the team. Apart from that,
Yeah, you're right. It's what we've got available. We've got a huge injury list at the moment, with players who you thought had recovered from injury, but then they're still not making the bench. The likes of Howson, Force, they made their comebacks, but then it seems as though there's either a recurrence or a new injury picked up, and it just leaves us a little short. So yeah, the team that started last night, yeah, I thought was the best that we could muster.
yeah, and looking at the bench as well, Yusuf, you could tell how injury struck we were because I say a couple of young lads on the benches, but if you compare it to the bench that Burnley had, it was a million miles apart, wasn't it?
100%, and I think that can make or break team seasons because if we were losing the game, a lot of people say Carrick hasn't got a plan B, but there wasn't that many options. Yeah, there was obviously Isaiah Jones and there was Michael Hamilton, who hasn't really played so much. But if Latiolap got injured, there wasn't a recognised striker on the bench because obviously Tommy Conway was out injured. So I think you could definitely see the bench wasn't as strong as sort of Burnley's. That's for sure.
Yeah, definitely. No, I completely agree with that. It's there wasn't really something for Michael Carrick to turn around and think, right, you can change the game from here, kind of thing. Especially if last year Laugh pulled up, I don't know what we just done. Maybe stuck Johnny Howson in there, he's done everything else. It was very slim pickings last night for Carrick. But we're stuck in the game, John. It was like we've been saying, it was quite a close contest. Not much between the teams. Both teams had the chances in the first half, second half. The big chance in the first half, I suppose, was a bit of a lack of concentration from James Trafford because he just seemed to, freeze and stop. Bergzorg nicked the ball. But it was more of a half chance for Bergzorg to put the ball in the net because he still had a couple of defenders in his way. But that, for me, showed how tight the first half was. Do you agree?
Yeah. I mean, they had a strong lineup. We had not our strongest, not our first choice 11 by any stretch of the imagination, and they kept the ball really well. They looked comfortable passing the ball around, but they weren't causing us too many problems. So I thought we done quite well. We didn't sit back, but sometimes we just sort of let them have the ball in sort of like a non-dangerous area, and they kept the ball quite well. There wasn't too many sustained periods of pressure from them. I didn't at any time in that first half think that we were hanging on, and I can't really remember in the first half one really good chance that Burnley had. So I thought we'd done quite well, considering the team that we started out with.
Yeah, I'm struggling to remember a time where I thought, well, the club has made a really good save, or he was stretched there, or we were looking a bit uncomfortable. Timmy Leach just come up and said Glover was under a lot of pressure last night to perform. He thought he did okay. I thought he did okay last night. So there was a couple of things I thought, I was a bit nervous about in the second half. But first half, I didn't really think it was stretched. But let's say, do you agree with that, Yusuf? Pretty much the pick of the first half chances was that Bergzorg chance. Apart from that, there was another shot from Bergzorg, which went straight to Trafford's hands. That was pretty much about it, apart from the possession that Burnley did keep in the middle of the park.
Yeah, no, definitely. I think both teams sort of cancelled each other out. And yeah, there wasn't really much sort of in it. And, back of my mind, I was kind of dreading a mistake being made because we've made so many defensive errors. If you look at the goals we've conceded this season, it's been like we can't be conceding that amount of goals if we want to sort of get promoted. If you look, conceded 3 goals against Plymouth and conceded 3 against Coventry conceded 3 against Norwich, 2 against Oxford, 2 against Portsmouth. It's far too many. So I thought, against a team like Burnley, if we make defensive errors, we could get a bit sort of ruined. But fortunately, we defended a lot better than we have recently. And not just the back four, but I thought the whole team defended very, very well, to be fair.
Yeah, we seemed to keep our shape really well. I thought it was a very well-rounded performance. We weren't stretched out of our positions quite as much as other games. I suppose Sheffield Wednesday was a pure prime example. Especially when we went down to 10 men, they were taking us here, there, and everywhere. But going to the second half, John, obviously the big chances did come Burnley's way. Brownhill's shot over the bar, which he really should be putting on target. I think it was Brownhill again that was blocked on the line from Dale Fry. I think the one thing, if I was going to be critical of Borough, it was that final pass, that final decision. There was bits on the right-hand side where Dijksteel took a bit too much of a touch and the ball went out of play. Jones at the end, he's a bit in two minds. As you said to me before we came on, the main men were making the runs, but the pass wasn't going. Did that really sum up our night to you?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I could see it more second half when we were attacked. Late on in the first half when we were attacking the south stand, I could see a great view of it where Latte Lath would make himself some space and a great run, and all it needed was an accurate and correct ball with the right pace on it, and he was through because his pace would have carried him on. However, numerous times, whether it be balls to Latte Lath or balls to Bergzorg or Doak, our final delivery was very, very poor. And it wasn't just one culprit. It was guilty from a number of players: Barlaser, Azaz, Hackney. We just failed to find the ball. The runs were being made by our forwards. We just failed to find them. I mean, the one time we did, you mentioned it there, Jones, second half when he come on as sub. We played the ball over the top to him, and he got in front of his defender, but his first touch let him down. And like you said, it was first touches or final passes that sort of like kept our scoreline down to nil. I thought we could have scored if we'd have just had a bit more composure, and our final ball or final touch was a bit better. But I thought we were better second half. We had a few more goal scoring opportunities. Trafford had to make one or two decent saves. But looking over the 90 minutes, from a team with such a good run of current form and coming off the back of a win at Sheffield United, and the way people were telling me before the game how they thought the game would go after Sheffield Wednesday, there wasn't many confident Borough fans who thought we could win last night. I thought we performed quite well, and overall, the point was a good point.
Yeah, it was, and a fair one as well. I don't think Burnley could have many grumbles about having that point as well. I think Scott Parker mentioned it last night after the game. He mentioned the phrase "fine margins." I'm coming back to Isaiah Jones, Yusuf. What have you made of his last few appearances off the bench? He's starting to look his sharper self. He looks a bit more alert, a bit more direct. Is this spell of pressure, I suppose, with his position, with Ben Doak being the one that's starting a lot now? Do you think he's starting to, not take it serious, but starting to step it up a little bit to say I need to start performing a bit more, because he was becoming a bit more lackadaisical with his performances. What have you made in the last few matches?
Yeah, definitely. Like, I think certainly since the Millwall game, I think you've seen Isaiah back to his best from what we saw when obviously Wilder was in charge, and where he's being very direct and taking the fullback on, and really trying to make sort of things happen. What changed? It's difficult to say, but it looks like Jones is getting back to his best, and that's going to be very important because as we've seen with the injuries to Dieng and Bryn, who's to say there won't be an injury to Ben Doak? Because that's why players just need to be ready because you just never know. Gone. He's going to be playing for the next sort of few games. So hopefully Jones keeps doing what he's doing and you know gets back to his best because he looks like certainly the last three games he looks like he's getting back to his direct best for sure.
Yeah, he definitely is. You don't think he's fishing for a January move? Obviously, you travel a little bit with his brother as well. Obviously, Ishmael makes the trips with yourself as well.
Mhm.
There's no whisperings, no inklings that he's starting to look for somewhere else for a bit more first team football.
You have to ask Jones. I have no idea. I have no idea. Everyone's been talking about different rumors in the press, and obviously Latte Lat and Jones are the two big rumors. But I think, like I said about with Tom Glover, like no one expected Tom Glover to be kind of first choice. So a couple of injuries, you could be first choice. So hopefully he keeps working hard and I sound like a politician, don't I? But but I'm not Isaiah Jones, so I honestly I have no idea what the future holds for him.
I'll put the poll question to you, John. Do you think is it too coincidental that his performances are starting to kick up again towards January coming, or are we just seeing someone that's a bit more focused again?
Well, if he is looking for a way out and to do that, he gives us improved performances. Then in the short term, our club benefit. And to be fair, I don't think we can look at getting rid of any players right at this moment with the amount of injuries that we've racked up. So obviously January is going to be a month that lasts about 4 months for every Borough fan. It's going to feel like torture. So we'll just have to wait and see as to what unfolds in the month. But we don't know conversations that may have been had. But if he's unhappy with his limited first team appearances, then he has to knuckle down and prove to the manager on the training pitch that he deserves a chance. And then when he gets that chance, he's got to take it. And like I said, that will only benefit our first team, So we'll wait and see.
Yeah, definitely. We can.
Two politicians' answers there.
I know it's very, very, very diplomatic from the pair of you, but no, it's fair. We don't know what the crack is. We don't know what's going on. Hopefully, like you said, the club's in the same position and said we can't afford to lose these two now. We've got players out left, right, and centre. All of a sudden, we're starting to get towards the position of where we were this time last year, which I really don't want to be. But I thought we were well deserved to a point last night. Only flappy part was Tom Glover right at the end. Obviously, Dale Fry rescued him with that block, but yeah, I thought, is this a mistake I've been waiting for? But it wasn't. Apart from that, he had a solid game. I didn't have any problems with him. But yeah,
it was clearly a mistake. I mean, yeah, he had to go for the ball, I suppose, but you just don't knock it back into the danger area. It was a bad miss by Brownhill and a great block by Dale Fry. We all know Brownhill should have hit the target quite easily, but he didn't connect 100% with the shot. And and thankfully Dale got in the way and prevented it going over the line. But it was a mistake by Glover, and yeah, we got away with that one.
Yeah, we did. But as I say, it was, we rode the wave there because that was the point where you think they were starting to get a bit on top. But like I said, they only made a couple of chances more than we did. We'll keep saying it. I'll probably point in the podcast. The fine margins of this league. We got ourselves back in the top six. Everybody seemed to lose yesterday, apart from Leeds. Yes, that includes Sunderland. So yes, we capitalised in a way, but I feel our next couple of games will be where we really will have to push and capitalise again. But before I move on to talk about 2024, I'll start with you, Yusuf. Your man of the match from last night.
Man of the match. I'm trying to think now. I'll probably give it to. There wasn't any really outstanding performances, to be fair. But if I had to give it to someone, I'd probably. I thought Finnezaz had a good game, to be fair. I thought he had a pretty decent game. Still, but I'd give it to Finnezaz. I thought Finnezaz was man of the match for me.
John, come to you.
I thought the two centre halves done really well, Edmondson and Dale Fry. But it'll go to Dale Fry for my vote because that block was it ensured that we got a point. But above and beyond that, he was getting his head to everything when they had corners or knocking the ball into the box. I thought he had a solid game, just like he did down at Turf Moor. So Dale Fry for me.
Yeah, I'll second that. I thought Dale was brilliant last night. Outstanding, could be said. So yeah, I thought he was really good.
How did it go with the Sky pundits? Who did they give it to?
You know what? I can't remember.
That's fine. That's all right then. At least you're honest.
Well, I'm pretty sure Dale Fry got it from them as well, to be honest. He was solid. I thought he was really solid. And what have you made of him coming back into the team, John? He seems to have slotted back in pretty effortlessly, hasn't he? He's obviously a long time out. I think he's been brilliant since he's come back.
He has. He's come back and settled in fairly quickly. I mean, there's always the risk, isn't there, after such a long-term injury that you pick up on the niggles, like unrelated, but it just happens so often where players coming back from long-term injury can just pick up another muscle strain or whatever. But thankfully, he hasn't done that, and he's looked comfortable. Slot straight back in. He's looked comfortable without being head and shoulders above everybody else. He doesn't look ring rusty. That's what I'm trying to say. He looks all right. He's come back well.
Yeah, he looks solid, doesn't he? He looks really good. He's, like you said, it's like he hasn't been away. But like what Matt Clark was when Matt Clark came back in. He's just slotted straight back in, no problem at all. I suppose that shows the strength of the squad and how well the lads get on. So, they all know each other's jobs really well, which is a positive. So, right, we did put a tweet out asking for everybody's moments and goals and hopes for the coming year as well as the past year. John, I'll come to you because obviously you put the question out. And I believe you've got obviously a couple of questions you want to pop to us as well. So I don't usually do this, but I'll give complete control to you.
All right. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. I just asked on different social media accounts. What was your Borough high and your Borough low of this year? Your favourite Borough goal of the year, and also your hopes for 2025. We had couple of replies. One says Paul Spreadbury said his high was beating Chelsea at home. Well, that was way back in January of this year, and we all remember that game. It was fantastic, electric atmosphere. Yeah, we beat them 1-0. We took our hopes of maybe making the final of the Carabao Cup to Stamford Bridge. But then it quickly unravelled. But yeah, that was his high, beating Chelsea at home. His low was the first half at Chelsea, which I've just alluded to. You know, it unravelled pretty quickly at Stamford Bridge. He's chosen, pardon me, as his favourite goal of the year, the goal against Chelsea. So obviously all his thoughts are on what he sees as the best game of 2024, the Hackney goal against Chelsea, and his hopes for 2025 is playoff victory at Wembley, which, you know, I'd take all day long. I would. So I appreciate Paul's getting in touch with us. I'd ask you, Yusuf, now the same question. So, what would be your Borough high of 2024?
The high, definitely agree about the Chelsea game. If you look at the course of the year, we've had some good results, but I don't think there's any that's as good as the Chelsea. As you alluded to, John, the atmosphere was just fantastic, and we just wish that the Riverside is like that every game, because unfortunately it's not quite like that all the time. But it was such a good atmosphere, such a good performance, and we rode our luck a few times. You know, Cole Palmer could have got a hat trick on another day, but we defended really, really well, and Hackney scored a very important goal as well. So yeah, that'll definitely be my high of 2024.
Yeah, okay. Your favourite goal of this year?
Favorite goal. Well, the best goal probably is Finazaz's the fifth goal against Luton at home when we beat them 5-1, where he was sort of on the edge of the box and he kind of curled one in, and then did that little.
For those who are listening on Spotify, Yusuf was doing a curly wave with his hand there.
Yeah, I couldn't really explain. I couldn't really explain. Sometimes you need actions.
Yes, I know. I understand. We all use hand gestures, especially at the football.
I'm loving this right now.
You're loving it. And then so I think that's probably the best goal that I can think of in 2024 from Borough.
Okay. Well, before I ask the third question of that three-questioned tweet, I'll come to you, Jacko. Your Borough highlight of this year.
I mean, people will obviously go towards that home game against Chelsea, the beating Chelsea 1-0 with all the luxuries that they had. You know, a £250 million midfield too. Cole Palmer at his dazzling best. Managing to bring, casually McCall and Mudryk off the bench as you do. That was a huge high. That was a pinch me, I'm dreaming kind of thing. How we just beat them 1-0, but I'm going to go a bit different. Oxford, watching us score 6 away from home doesn't happen very often. I think it's the first time we'd seen it happen. Well, I haven't seen it happen in my lifetime. Scoring 6 away from home and looking not, complacent. Even when we got 3, 4, and 5, we just went, no, keep going. And we looked our ruthless best that day. I know the opposition wasn't brilliant, but we were superb. I thought we were so good. After going 1 down as well, a game where Bryn made a couple of good saves, to keep us in at 1-0. I'll go a bit different. I'll say scoring 6 away from home, Oxford.
Yeah, okay. And what would you class as your favourite Borough goal this year?
I'm going to go the same game as Yusuf, Luton, but I'm going to go Lap's goal. Yeah. The touch, the turn. Honestly, if you've seen a top level striker, if Haaland had done that, there'd be replays and everything. all over the TV. Unbelievable finish, unbelievable moments. He just looked effortless. And to think, wow, he plays for the Borough. Someone doing that so easy. I just thought, wow, we've got a player on our hands here. I'd probably say, that goal, definitely.
All right then. I'll ask you, pair of you now. What's the lowest point this year for you? Borough point of view.
Do you want to go first, Yusuf?
Yeah. Where do we begin? Probably Plymouth at home. Plymouth at home when we lost 2-0. For me, we didn't have a shot on target. It was just really poor. That for me, I can't think of anything lower. We've had other poor results and poor performances, but for me, considering the opposition and considering we're at home, we didn't have a shot on target. There should never be any game at home we don't have a shot on target. I'd say Plymouth at home when we lost 2-0.
Okay. Jacko?
Plymouth's probably a good one, but I'm going to go for this one. I'm going to go back to Chelsea. Seeing how far away we were from that level, I never expected us to compete with Chelsea. I never expected us to, go to Stamford Bridge and win. I thought keepers in the game, we've got a chance of doing something. Maybe getting a draw out of it. But to watch us get blown away in half an hour, and how effortless they made it look, it was just demoralising and hard to watch. It reminded me. Remember a few years ago under Pulis went to Villa, we got absolutely took apart. It was a 4-0 that day. That's what it reminded me of. I know it's not, obviously levels are different, I get that, but I just felt we didn't really, apart from Rodgers' goal, and maybe a moment when we were 1-0 down, I didn't really feel we put a fight up. I felt like we were overwhelmed by it. And it was just sad seeing how far behind we were. I just thought teams in the Premier League are coming here and getting results. And that's what we aspire to be, and we were just absolutely nowhere near it.
Yeah. And I know what you're saying. We went there with, hopes that we could just hold them out for the first 30 minutes and get them frustrated, get a little bit of confidence. But like I said, it evaporated quickly, didn't it? Yeah, that was a massive disappointment.
Really
so anyway, thank you very much. Thank you very much for that. Over to you, Steve, now. You carry on.
No worries at all. I'll pose to you, Yusuf, the last question of your little trio. Your hope for 2025. What are you hoping for in 2025? I'm going to come to you, John, and ask you your goals and stuff as well. But I want to get Yusuf's hope for 2025. Obviously, we all know what the big hope is, but is that, how do you want us to do it? How do you hope that we do it?
Well, as long as we get sort of promoted, I think we've got a squad with everyone fit. For me, is one of the best in the league, and that's not sounding arrogant or disrespecting the other teams in the league. I think with everyone fit, in terms of, and we've seen that with the goals that we've scored and stuff. I just want to see a few more ugly wins. I think that's what we lack. We lack the ugly wins, and I think if we're going to get promoted, we're going to need to learn to win ugly, learn to win when we're not playing particularly well. But yeah, I think hopefully no more injuries, because that's really been destroying us. And just try get promoted and get back to the Premier League. It's been far too long since we had that disappointing season. We'll give it to Steve Agnew, but I still have bad memories of that end of the season. But I think getting promoted's got to be the aim.
Yeah, I agree. That's my hope. If we don't do it this year, then we've got to start looking at what next in the summer, because we haven't got a better opportunity than this year for me. But John, come to you. You pose the question. I'll pose it to you. Your high of 2024 following the Borough.
Yeah, it's been mentioned by various people, but yeah, Chelsea, the build up to it, the fan groups participating, getting together, organising all the sort of pre-match hype, then the build up and the kick-off and the game itself and the atmosphere, absolutely fantastic. One of the better nights to remember at the Riverside, although we've had quite a few, up there with some of the best. Yeah, and the way we played with spirit, with a little bit of teesside steel, and when we took the lead, brilliant, absolutely fantastic. If we could have gone on to get a second, it would have been a totally different tie going into the second leg at Stamford Bridge. But we had the lead, we had the 1-0. And yeah, that's when the law comes into it, because we were all fingers crossed, hoping that by some sort of minor miracle we could see the 90 minutes out, have a little bit of luck, and frustrate Chelsea, frustrate the crowd, and see us getting the aggregate win and going on to Wembley. But again, a Middlesbrough trait of recent seasons has been errors, and errors led to Chelsea just tying the game up within half an hour of the first half. So yeah, such a high at home, such expectancy and hope, travelling down there, the build up to kick off at Stamford Bridge, and then just sort of smacked her on the chops with a wet fish, really, weren't you?
Yeah, I mean, I remember that journey down. So obviously, I was with you on that day, and every one of us on the way down was thinking, maybe, just hang on for the first half an hour. We knew what was coming. They were obviously going to come at us at 100 mile an hour. Show us the power they've got and flex their muscles, kind of thing. I just felt like we wilted a bit too quick, and that's what really hurt me so much. And I'll put my hand
the
up.
architects of our own downfall, yeah.
Yeah, that's why I couldn't watch the second half. I thought, I can't watch this anymore. Not because I was a sore loser or whatever it may be. It just hurt a bit too much watching us fall to pieces like we did. It was a hard watch, but
well, it was Chelsea as well, wasn't it? The history we have with them, and their fans sort of like taunting us and doing it at their home. It was a bad occasion.
It was. And what was your goal of the year for 2024?
Well, I thought about it today, and I chose the goal that you described. Latte when he took the little dinked ball from Finn Azaz on his chest. He turned, and on his weaker foot, his left foot, he curled it past the keeper into the net. I thought that was a brilliant goal, absolutely fantastic. And we have scored quite a lot of goals this year, and some of them have been spectacular. Yusuf mentioned Azaz, as he doesn't seem to do many tap-ins. He always scores good goals, and that was a great one that Yusuf recalled. But for me, Latte Lath, that would have probably alerted a few Premier League clubs if his other goals hadn't already. That one showed what he was capable of in taking a high ball down, quick turn, and then shooting with his weaker foot. Brilliant goal.
It was brilliant. It's a goal that probably went a bit under the radar as well. That came quite close for me. It was Dijksteel's at Leeds. The way he just walked through 5 or 6 defenders, just with ease, just like it was nothing, and then slid it in the bottom corner. I thought, what a goal that was as well. But you are right. We scored some unbelievable goals this year. But I couldn't agree more with you. The goal from last year was, the touch, the turn, the finish. Honestly, it just reminded me so much of that goal Hal Robson-Kanu scored against. I think I mentioned it earlier in the season as well on the podcast. He scored against Belgium in the Euros, where he just absolutely wiped out 4 of Belgian defenders and slotted it, behind Thibaut Courtois. So it was just brilliant. It's just unbelievable goals.
Yeah.
Just watching a Borough player do that was magic, real magic.
He's probably still getting free drinks on that goal for the rest of his life.
That's it. That for Robson-Kanu.
No, Hal Robson-Kanu. All the Welsh fans that he bumps into, they'll be repaying him for that the rest of his life.
Rightly so as well. Unbelievable goal. And what is your hope for? It's pretty obvious what everybody's hope is. What is your hope for 2025?
Yeah, it's got to be playing in the Premier League. However we get there, top 2 looks unlikely. But like I said previous times, I won't give up until it's impossible. But yeah, just to see us back in the top flight, rewarding the fans for their superb support over the years, rewarding Gibson for his outstanding backing of the managers that he's had, and keeping a small town team competitive in a very difficult division. If we were to get up, it would be a massive boost for the club, for Teesside. I'd love it. I'd love to see that. And if it has to be through the agony of Wembley or the extra agony of penalties at Wembley, I'd take it all day long. I would. But I want to see us back in the top flight.
I don't know if I can go through agony of penalties at Wembley. Like
you'll just be facing the other way, and I know where you'll be anyway. You're out in the concourse, probably.
I'd just be sat there. I think I'm not watching that. That'd be tough. That'd be really tough, that one. But no, everybody's ambition is the same, isn't it? Before I move on to Hull and Cardiff, you had 2 more questions for me and Yusuf, didn't you?
Yeah. Come May of 2025, if Borough finish outside of the playoffs, would that be it for Michael Carrick? In your eyes as fans? Because speaking to lots of fans before, during, after games, the expectation of this season was very high. So, yeah, the question is, would 7th or lower be failure, and would it see the end of Michael Carrick?
I'll let you go first, Yusuf.
The ball in your court.
Yeah, I mean, it's a very tough question. Carrick, yeah, I mean, how do I start? Okay, obviously, if we don't get promoted, will that be? If we don't get promoted, will that be failure? Probably, I think it would, considering the squad that we've got and the expectation. Should that mean Carrick loses his job? I'm not 100% sure about that, because it's easy the easy person to get rid of after failure is obviously like the manager and whatnot. But then if Carrick was to go, who would you replace him with? Because there's not many options, in my opinion, that are out there. So yeah, to answer your question, I'm not sitting on the fence. I wouldn't get rid of Carrick. I would, unless it's a complete capitulation where we end up losing nearly every game from now till May, and we're not playing well, we're conceding plenty of goals. But if we finish just outside the playoffs and, something was kind of missing, then yeah, I'd keep Carrick.
Jacko?
Go on. I love Michael Carrick. I really do. I think Carrick has been an absolute breath of fresh air. You know, we're the club that give managers, their opportunity to get into club management. You know, we've done it with Robson, we've done it with Karanka, we've done it with McLaren. We're renowned for doing it. I just feel there's no excuse with this squad. This squad has everything. People will come back and go, yeah, but look at the state of our left backs. Well, I'm sorry, right? Don't worry about that. When you've got goal scorers, I know that they'll make mistakes, etc. Everywhere else is solid. Everywhere else you can't compete with at this level. I just feel we finished 7th. He got asked the question: is he took us as far as he's going to? I still believe we will get a top 6 finish this year. I really do. I still think we'll be walking down Wembley way. Well, I'll be crying my eyes out if we win at Wembley. I really will be. I'm not going to hide it. I do feel that is where we'll end up in May. Top 2 is a bit not too far away, but you just look at the teams that are in the top two, top 3. I'm not going to mention them in 4th. Yeah, if we finish 7th, it's failure. It's ultimate failure with that squad, and that squad will start being dismantled as well, unfortunately.
Well, we've got to hope that the dismantling doesn't start in January, because if money gets thrown at the club for certain players, you just wonder, will it be difficult to resist? So we've got to wait and see. And obviously, I mean, we've had spells during Carrick's time where we've had really bad runs of injuries. I mean, we mentioned Chelsea. I remember, I can't remember how many players we had out over that period at the beginning of this year, and we're suffering again now with a lengthy injury list, and some of them have been on the injury list for months and months and months, and we're not the only club to get them. I understand that. It just feels as though we've been unlucky. But I feel that if we don't get top 6 and playoffs, then a lot of fans will see it as a lack of progress and therefore failure. So I'm praying to God that doesn't happen come May, because I like Michael Carrick. I hope that he can learn and improve at the Borough. He obviously got his flaws, like most managers have, but lack of progress and failure to achieve your targets ultimately leads to a dismissal, doesn't it?
Exactly. You look in normal everyday life. Everybody in every job is set a target. If you're consistently not hitting that target, you are looked at. It doesn't matter what job you do, you're looked at. We have made progress this year. We started the year 12th, we're 6th. We have made progress. Do I feel this league's not as strong as it was at the beginning of the year? Yeah, I do. There is teams that have gone up and dropped out that are a bit stronger than what we've got at the moment. That's no disrespect to the teams that have come up, the likes of Oxford, but I feel like teams like the 2 we're playing in the coming games have massively weakened. I never expected in a million years Hull and Cardiff to be a relegation fight. Sheffield United come down, yeah, fair enough, they've been strong. Burnley aren't as strong as they were a couple of years ago, but they're still up there. Leeds, dominant. It's hard as it is to say, they're very dominant when they want to be, knowing how to win. But apart from them 3, I feel like the other 3 positions really are up in the air and anybody's to grab. I know Sunderland have got a few point gap on the rest, but they will come back to the rest. seasons are long, and they're hoping that their 12, 13, 14 men that they're consistently use is going to be enough, and it's not going to be. So, yeah, we have made progress, but the ultimate progress will be playoffs minimum, and if not, I'm sorry, I can't see a future with him, unfortunately. But that sounds quite grim, doesn't it? But hey ho, it's okay.
Okay, then the second question I wanted to ask you then, if you could make one signing in January, what position and what player?
Keeper.
And if you don't have a player in mind, just say what position you think we need to strengthen and why.
Sorry, Yusuf, I took the lead on this one. Keeper. It has to be a keeper now. We've lost Solbrin for 3 months. Dieng, I don't know what muscle he's pulling this week. No idea. We can't go into the second half of the season. As harsh as it sounds, he did a good job last night. He's had good games. He's had bad games, very bad games. I can't trust Tom Glover as number one. I can't. And you look at the keepers at the top end of the league. Sheffield United, they brought in a keeper who's been brilliant this season. Leeds have got 2 keepers. I mean, one of them made an absolute howler against Sunderland, didn't he? Forgot where he was stood. Burnley spent God knows how much on James Trafford. They made the investments, and they're showing, they're coming to fruition. They're helping them. We have to go and get a keeper in January. If that's the situation, we have to go and get one. Who? I don't know. I don't know. I'd have to look who's available. You can't look at maybe the lad from Stoke, Victor Johansson. It's not a bad shout. He's solid. He was solid at Rotherham. Isn't doing a bad job at Stoke. That's just me being put on the spot. But yeah, keeper.
Okay, Yusuf, one position. And if you have a player in mind, who is it?
I mean, if you were to ask me a week ago, I think most fans would have said a left back or right back. More so left back. But obviously, the Solbrin injury has really changed everyone's thoughts process. And as Steve obviously said, probably a new goalkeeper, even on loan till the end of the season. Who, again, I'm not quite sure who, but I think, I think getting a keeper, even on loan till the end of the season, has become top of the priority.
Yeah. I agree with that. The other positions you can be reactive with. If Fatih Laf goes, you have a look in the market and see what we can get for them. We get for him. If you really want to look at a left back, I mean, there's a few suggestions coming through. Max Aarons is not a bad shout. I've seen Brandon Williams as well. There's 2 pretty good shouts for left back. They're not getting the games at the clubs. John, what would your position be?
What we're on 30th of December now, so at the moment you're right. I wouldn't be entirely comfortable going on for the next 3 months, which is how long it's supposedly before Solbrin can return. I wouldn't be comfortable with Tom Glover. He's adequate, but we need more than that. We need. I've said this a few years ago, on the podcast about key positions, and the goalkeeper is a key position because the goalkeeper can save you 8 to 10, 12 points a season, and because of the injury to Solbrin, it's heightened the necessity for us to bring in number one. And before Sol's injury, I was thinking we needed more in midfield. I know we've still got Aidan Morris to come back, but he's obviously suffered quite a serious knee injury, and we don't know how close he is to returning. But I think we need another midfielder of Aidan Morris's capability and Johnny Howson's sort of leadership, because I think lots of games we do lack. We do lack somebody in the centre of the field who can change things. Who can lift the team up when we've suffered a setback, and who can lead by example. So that would be a position that I was looking to improve in January. However, with Sol's injury, it puts the focus more on the goalkeeping spot.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. I mean, Damon LaRoche has just come up. I'm sorry if I've said that wrong. Matt Turner at Notts Forest, is he getting his game? There's a solid signing. That is a very solid signing. If we can, get him for 6 months, that'd be unbelievable. But yeah, I think the last 7 days has proved that we need a goalkeeper. We don't know what's going on with Dieng. His injuries seem to be popping up a bit too much all of a sudden. And obviously, Solbrin is a massive, massive loss. We're looking at Easter now, aren't we, until he's back? So, yeah. But we go into 2025, 2 games, Hull away, Cardiff at home. John Don, them 2 games, if you said them in previous years, you think 2 tough games. Hull and Cardiff have been notorious of being them teams that are around the playoff spots, make it tough for teams. They're both in a relegation battle. Am I being a bit too hopeful or harsh in saying I expect nothing else but 6 points from this?
No. You look at their league position, and we should be capable of beating both teams. However, Hull, I feel as though they're in a false position from the highlights of games that I've seen, and when I saw them up here, I thought they're a good footballing side. And yes, okay, the results they haven't got, and as a result, they're languishing where they are in the league table. But I still think they're a strong team, a dangerous team, and with us having a less than full strength squad and our sometimes vulnerability at the back, I believe it might be less of an easier game than a lot of fans imagine. But I'm still hopeful that we can have enough to beat them, and then we'll get the opportunity to take on Cardiff at home, which again, home advantage and our better squad, I'm hoping sees us win. So I don't think it'll be straightforward, but I do expect 2 victories.
Yeah, same. Yusuf, you were the same persuasion. Is 2 wins the absolute, I suppose, minimum and maximum, I suppose, because you can't get any more than that. But we've got to be aiming for 2-1s, really, haven't we?
No, I think there's no 2 ways about it. Especially with the points that we've dropped against Sheffield Wednesday and Plymouth, it really makes the next 2 games vitally important if we want to get up there. As John said, Hull are definitely in a false position. They've changed their manager now. He's a pretty good manager, highly rated manager they just got from Reading. And yes, it's going to be a tough game, but I spoke about it before. Ugly wins. We need to get some wins where we don't particularly play great, but just get the 3 points, which I think is very, very important. So yeah, there's nothing more. Sorry, yeah, nothing less than 6 points will do in the next 2 games. To put it quite bluntly.
Yeah, well, if we get 6 points out of those 2 games, we've had 3 draws before then. So you're looking at 9 points out of 5 games, which isn't bad. You say you should be looking at an average of 2 points a game. So if we get the two victories, it'll be 6 points plus the 3 draws we had. 9 points out of 5 games. I'd accept that. Yeah, absolutely.
Well, that's it. You aim for 2 points a game. That's the average you aim for, and that puts us right on par with that. So yeah, it makes the results. You mentioned there Plymouth, Sheffield Wednesday, where conceding 3 apiece to them is really disappointing. But it doesn't make them sound as bad when you've backed it up with a couple of wins as well. So no, for me, not to pile the pressure. There's no excuse here for me. There's absolutely no excuse. We have to go to Hull. We have to win, and then we bring it back home on Saturday, and we have to beat Cardiff. There's just no ifs or buts for me. We've got to do the job. If we want to be anywhere near where we want to be in May, as we've just been talking about for the last 10 minutes or so, they're the games you have to win. You just have to. Look at Leeds. Leeds went to Derby, and got the job done. Leeds went to Stoke on was it Boxing Day, got the job done. That's what big teams do. That's what promotion teams do.
Well, if we get 2 victories, we'll still be in the top 6. And that's a bare minimum where we've got to be. We've got to be top 6. So if we get the 2 victories, Hull and Cardiff, we'll still, at the end of those 2 games, we'll still be in the top 6. We may even climb higher. So that's got to be the minimum.
Has to be. It'll put us on 43 points after 26 games. If you're looking at that magic 2-point average, we're only 9 points off it. That's not bad. Not bad considering the points we have dropped, which has been staggering when you go back through them. It really has. The positions we've been in against teams. People will look at the games that obviously just gone. Look at Derby, look at Portsmouth. I look at games like Watford being 1-0 with 20 minutes to go and throwing that away. That was a big one. Against a team that's going to be around us all season by the looks of it. That we can't keep doing that. We can't. And, if Michael Carrick wants to make a New Year's resolution, he needs to cut that out. It needs to be cut out and fast, and make us more consistent. Because inconsistency will get us absolutely nowhere. So, it's not like going for a right war cry, haven't I? The last 5 minutes, but that's how I feel. We've got to go for it now. 2024 has been and gone now, football wise. We've got to go for it in 2025. While we could be in a mess by this time next year. So, that's not doom and gloom. But before
if we do, sorry, Jacko, if we do go for it and we fail, at least we give it a go. The worst thing to do is to sort of like stumble on. Yeah, we have to go for it.
We have to. You're absolutely right. And the sooner we get our key players back, Aidan Morris is a huge, huge miss. I don't think we realise how big a miss he would be. But we've seen over the last few weeks, he's been absolutely massive. He's been a monster of a midfielder. And the sooner we can get him back in the middle of the park, the better for me as well. So, and getting Conway back as well. He's going to be out for a few weeks. We've got to get him back. Because if Lattier does up 6 and go, we are left with no one up top. So, yeah, a lot of key weeks coming. This month's going to be critical for our season. I think we said it a few weeks ago on a previous podcast. January is going to be key for us, and I think it's turned out that is going to be the case. But before I say bye to these lovely people, obviously I've got to get your predictions out of you. I'll start with you, John. We'll start with Hull, New Year's Day. Looking forward to it. Should be a good trip. Score prediction and anytime scorer.
2-1 to Middlesbrough. And George Edmondson to score.
Ole. I like it. There you go. That's not a bad one. Yusuf, come to you.
I think it's going to be 3-1 and Bergzorg to score.
I feel like we're stepping up 1-2-1, 3-1, 5-1. Listen for 5. I think if we get one against these early, they'll crumble. I could be made to look a right mug here. We get beat 1-0. But 5-1, Hayden Hackney to get it.
Nice. I'll clip this, Jacko.
Please. Because it'd be a beauty to pull out on New Year's Day when I say, I told you all, we didn't listen to it.
Well, anyway, Yusuf, you've got a lot to live up to. Our guest last week got the score prediction right, so you've got a lot to live up to.
Pressure. We'll see. I'll take the 1-0 win. As long as we win, I'm happy. But yeah, we'll see how it goes.
Nick did say, didn't he? The amount of goals we've had the last couple of games, it wouldn't surprise me if it was 0-0. And he was absolutely bang on the money. So, yeah, fair play to him for getting that one. So we've all gone for 3 wins out of 3. Go to Cardiff. John, prediction for Cardiff?
2-0 Middlesbrough. And a goal scorer, Hayden Hackney.
Okay. Yusuf?
I think 1-0. I think we've had a lot of games in a short period of time, and I think we're just gonna. It won't be a great performance, I don't think, but we're gonna sneak over the line. 1-0 and Dan Barlaser.
That'll be a big one. Dan Barlaser. 3-1 Borough. I'll go a bit more calm on this one. 3-1 Borough. Finners has to get back on the score sheet as well. He's got some good home form at the moment. Finners he's doing really well. He's having a really good season, numbers wise as well as performance. So yeah, I'll go with that. And just like that, we're all done. That is 2024 done for us as a podcast. Yusuf, thank you so much for popping on. Always good to have you on. No doubt I'll see you at Borough Matins very, very soon. Have a very good New Year as well. John Don, thank you very much for being by my side all year, virtually. Obviously not. But have a good New Year. I'll see you on New Year's Day for the trip down to. Is it still Yorkshire? Are we still going to be in Yorkshire?
Humberside.
Yeah.
Humberside, I think.
Yeah.
Humberside.
I think is it Humberside or okay. Hull.
The first dinky part of the country when we go down. We'll be there. Should be a good trip. And to all you people who have listened, liked, subscribed, commented, been involved, thank you for making us even bigger in 2024, and we've got bigger plans for 2025 to keep going and make this as big as we could possibly ever even think of when we started 5 years ago. So, yes, thank you very much. Yes, see you next year. Have a good New Year. Be seeing you. Up the Borough. Toodaloo.
I hope everybody has a healthy 2025.